existence, but is a temporary illusion only. Persons who have no contact with Nityananda accept this illusory body as factual. Narottam Das Thakur then says, Nityayer Karuna Habe Raje Radha Krishna Pabe. If you actually want to approach the association of Radha Krishna, you must achieve the mercy of Lord Nityananda first. When he is merciful toward you, then you will be able to approach Radha Krishna. Daro Nitai Charana Dukkani. Narottam Das advises that one firmly catch the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. Then again he says, Nitayer Charana Satya. One should not misunderstand and think that he has caught hold of Maya. Similarly, the lotus feet of Nityananda may also be something like that of Maya or illusion. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur confirms, Nityayer Charana Satya. The lotus feet of Nityananda are not illusion, they are fact. Tahara Sevaka Nitya. And one who engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda is also transcendental. If one engages in the transcendental loving service of Nityananda in Krishna consciousness, he immediately achieves his transcendental position on the spiritual platform, which is eternal and blissful. Therefore, he advises, Nitai Pada Sada Koro Ash. Always try to catch the lotus feet of Nityananda. Narottama Bodho Dukhi. Narottam Das Thakur, the Acharya, is taking the position that he is very unhappy. Actually, he was representing ourselves. He says, my dear Lord, I am very unhappy. Nitai More Koro Sukhi. Therefore, I am praying to Lord Nityananda to make me happy. Rako Ranga Charana Pash. Please keep me in a corner of your lotus feet.
Jai. So, very fortunate we are to have such great personalities in our life that we can hear from and relish their pastimes and activities. It's said that Vaishnavas, they appear and they disappear. It's all part of a lila. So the appearance and disappearance are non-different in a way. So we're not concerned over being sad that they died or they're born, but Narottam Das Thakur, he very much expresses in his bhajans a longing, missing the association of these great devotees. So I was thinking when we're reading this, it's very nice because not only are we reading something to glorify Lord Nityananda Prabhu, we're also reading something that's coming from Narottam Das Thakur, receiving his blessings. Reading something coming down from Srila Prabhupada, receiving his blessings. So if we want to advance towards spiritual life with Narottam Das Thakur's praying, please, Lord Nityananda, make me happy. Then we need the blessings of all the Vaishnavas, all the previous devotees. So as we were hearing in the class this morning, Magadari Prabhu was very much making the nice point about Guru Tattva, showing that Lord Nityananda is actually Adi Guru. He's the first Guru. And as we were just hearing in this purport by Srila Prabhupada, Narottam Das Thakur is expressing that if we want to be able to know Radha Krishna, the mercy of Radha Krishna, to be able to serve Radha Krishna, then we need the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But to receive the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we need the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So here we all are praying to him, trying to hear and glorify him, so maybe we can make a little bit more advancement towards devotional service. I was just thinking right before I came up here that in Krishna's Leela in Vrindavan, everybody knows what Krishna does in Vrindavan, right? What are some things that Krishna does? He plays the flute. Nice. What else does Krishna do? He lifts Govardhan Hill. Anything else? He kills demons. That's what I wanted to get to, but there's so many other things. He tends the cows. He plays with his friends. He steals butter and milk from Mother Yashoda. He feeds the monkeys. All these different wonderful things. Yes, he does. But He kills many demons when he descends to Vrindavan here on Bhumi Vrindavan here on this earth. And all these demons actually represent different anarthas, different things on the spiritual path, different weaknesses of heart, you could say. Not to say that Krishna didn't actually kill them, but there's also a deeper meaning. And of all of them, how many of the demons did Balaram kill? 2. Do you know which ones? Yeah. No. Yes. Pralambasura and Dhenukasura. Yeah, that's kind of a separate thing. He had his own thing going on. It wasn't like these other demons. Anyways, the point is that Nityananda is in fact Lord Balaram. So Lord Gauranga is Lord Krishna. They descend at different times to enact their pastimes, and in this Kali Yuga, they descended to reclaim the fallen souls back to their lotus feet by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So of all these demons, that represent these negative things that are blocking us from purely loving Krishna, from understanding our spiritual position, it's said that the 2 that Balaram killed, we have to kill ourselves. And the rest that Krishna killed, Krishna can kill for us. So we take up the path of devotional service, and Krishna can remove all these anarthas, all these negative things. But the 2 things that we have to actually remove ourselves, it's gross material ignorance and lust. So the way we do this is by approaching the Guru. So by approaching the Guru in a humble, submissive mood, trying to inquire about our position in life and surrender to his will and work in that way, naturally we'll be free from the gross ignorance of thinking I am this body, that I belong to this country, and everything else that goes with it. And also the lusty desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, which actually entangles us more and more in the material world. So this is what we need the mercy of Lord Nityananda for. So we can actually surrender to Guru, which means surrendering to Krishna. Every morning in Mangalarti we sing, there's a certain shloka. It says, Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadan nagati kutopi. By pleasing the spiritual master, the Guru, then automatically one knows Krishna is pleased. So by pleasing the Guru, Krishna becomes pleased. So this is our aim today, is to do extra service, to hear about Lord Nityananda, glorify him, so we can make strives in that way. So as you can see, I pulled something up on the TV. I'm sure everybody's seen it and wondering why I haven't got to it yet. But I wanted to read a certain portion of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So for those who aren't familiar, the Chaitanya Charitamrita was written by Krishna Das Kaviraj. His picture's right here. You can see he has this big shining light coming down, because actually he was engaged in his bhajan, and Krishna appeared, gave him darshan, and he's blinded by the effulgence of Krishna. So he wrote this book, and I'll just read these shlokas, and then we'll go from there. It says, that night, Lord Nityananda appeared to me in a dream because of my good quality in chastising my brother. In the village of Jamatapur, which is near Naihati, Lord Nityananda appeared to me in a dream. I fell at his feet, offering my obeisances. He then placed his own lotus feet upon my head. Arise, get up, he told me again and again. Upon rising, I was greatly astonished to see his beauty. He had a glossy, blackish complexion, and his tall, strong, heroic stature made him seem like Cupid himself. He had beautifully formed hands, arms, and legs, and eyes like lotus flowers. He wore a silk cloth with a silk turban on his head. He wore golden earrings on his ears and golden armlets and bangles. He wore tinkling anklets on his feet and a garland of flowers around his neck. His body was anointed with sandalwood pulp, and he was nicely decorated with tilak. His movements surpassed those of a maddened elephant. His face was more beautiful than millions upon millions of moons, and his teeth were like pomegranate seeds because he was chewing on betel. His body moved to and fro, right and left, for he was absorbed in ecstasy. He chanted, Krishna, Krishna, in a deep voice. His red stick moving in his hand, he seemed like a maddened lion. All around the four sides of his feet were bumblebees. His devotees, dressed like cowherd boys, surrounded his feet like so many bees and also chanted, Krishna, Krishna, absorbed in ecstatic love. Some of them played horns and flutes, and others danced and sang. Some of them offered betel nuts, and others waved chamara fans about him. Thus I saw such opulence in Lord Nityananda Sarup. His wonderful form, qualities, and pastimes are all transcendental. I was overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy, not knowing anything else. Then Lord Nityananda smiled and spoke to me as follows. Oh, my dear Krishnadas, do not be afraid. Go to Vrindavan, for there you will attain all things. After saying this, he directed me toward Vrindavan by waving his hand. Then he disappeared with his associates. I fainted and fell to the ground. My dream broke, and when I regained consciousness, I saw that morning had come. I thought about what I had seen and heard, and concluded that the Lord had ordered me to proceed to Vrindavan at once. That very second, I started for Vrindavan, and by his mercy, I reached there in great happiness. All glory to Lord Nityananda Balaram, by whose mercy I have attained shelter in the transcendental abode of Vrindavan. So, I wanted to read from this because it's very nice that Krishnadas Kaviraj, he was actually a Vaishnava. He was at his house and he was doing kirtan with other devotees. And one of Lord Nityananda's associates actually came. His name was something Ram Das. And he was pretty eccentric personality, absorbed in love of God. And there became a little bit of an argument where Krishnadas Kaviraj's brother, he said, I have much faith in Gauranga and Lord Chaitanya, but not so much faith in Lord Nityananda. And Krishnadas Kaviraj chastised him. And he said, you can't take Lord Chaitanya without Nityananda. It's either you worship them both together or you don't worship them at all. It's better to be an atheist, actually. This is what he said. Very bold words. So that's what provoked Lord Nityananda to come to him in his dream. For Nityananda's very merciful, and for Krishnadas Kaviraj taking that step to put his brother even in his own place about the proper understanding of the Lord. Then Lord Nityananda showered his mercy upon him and told him to go to Vrindavan. So when Krishnadas Kaviraj went to Vrindavan, there he met Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami actually had the diary from Sarup Damodar Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami and all these other personalities spent a lot of time around Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. So through them, he sourced all this knowledge and information to give us the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so we can hear all about the glories of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Last time, well, who here's all read the Chaitanya Charitamrita? Okay, I'll ask that question next year, and hopefully we'll have a lot more hands up. Because, especially for those who come to the temple regularly or who live here, we're worshipping Sri Sri Gaur Nitai every day, so it's very important to know about him. Yes, they're non-different than Krishna Balaram, but they descended in this form to enact certain pastimes, certain leelas, for a certain reason. So the more we can hear about it and relish these pastimes, the easier it is to gather spiritual strength from that worship. So there's one famous incident that everybody knows about Lord Nityananda, but for those who don't know, hopefully some, I'll describe it. So Lord Nityananda was very famous for being very merciful. He was a very eccentric personality called an avadut. Avaduts don't really follow the normal social, conventional ways. We might see somebody and be like, that person's crazy. He was a little bit like this, but he was completely on the transcendental platform. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya would gather with his devotees in Navadvip. They would gather for Harinam, and they would get so absorbed in kirtan, so I was just reading actually earlier in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Everybody in Navadvip, they would hear of the kirtan at Srivas Thakur's house, and everybody would want to go. Those who weren't envious, at least. And there was one brahmachari. He very much wanted to go participate in the kirtan and watch Lord Chaitanya chant and dance with his associates. So he went begging to Srivas Thakur. He said, please, 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 I'll do anything. Please let me come in. And what did he say? He said, oh, we're not supposed to let outsiders in. But he said, okay, I know you. You're a simple brahmachari. You're a very devoted brahmana. You take this vow to only drink milk and fruit. You're very austere. So I'll let you come in. You come hide in the back where nobody will see you. So what happened? The kirtan started as usual. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So they're chanting, and they would get so absorbed in chanting that time would dissipate as they know it. How many of us have been in a kirtan and we're chanting, and we're like, oh, what time is it? Man, I've been here a long time. When is he going to stop? He's been going on for a long time with the same melody. This is boring. Let's chant something else. So they wouldn't have this happen. They would get so absorbed in hearing the holy name that they would lose all considerations of time, and they would lose themselves just chanting and dancing, not not worrying about their shoulder pain, their knee pain, their hunger, how much they slept last night, how that person stepped on their toe earlier and they were angry. They didn't care about any of these things. They just got absorbed in chanting the holy name. Shri Gauranatai Ki Jai. So Srivas Thakur, he brought in this brahmachari, and he is sitting in the back, and they're chanting, and Lord Chaitanya eventually, he says, why am I not feeling the same ecstasy as usual? He's like, something's wrong, something's off. He's like, is there somebody here? What's going on? And then at that point, Srivas Thakur revealed, oh yeah, I brought in this brahmachari. He's over there, he's hiding, he's a very good devotee. He just wanted to watch, But Lord Chaitanya, he became upset and he rebuked this brahmachari. And he made a big point that by no means of austerity, just because I only drink milk and you only eat fruit, something very simple, or any kind of austerity can we attain the mercy of the Lord. Only by actually rendering devotional service according to the parampara, the guru, the spiritual master, can we bring pleasure to the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya actually was getting ready to kick him out. But other people in Navadvip weren't so pious as this brahmachari, and they got the mercy of the Lord in a much, much different way. So Lord Chaitanya, when they would be absorbed in these kirtans, he wanted to take it out to the people. This is the reason of his descent. And oftentimes Lord Chaitanya, he would get so absorbed in chanting the holy names, and he would manifest different moods in his ecstasies of Krishna and different incarnations. And he would often forget the reason of his incarnation. And Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acharya would remind him that you descended to save the fallen souls, to deliver them. Said that Krishna, he descends and he annihilates the demons. So, we were talking about Krishna killing the demons in Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya came to kill the demons by killing their false ego, by delivering them, by giving them the holy name to bring them to pure devotional service. So it said that Lord Chaitanya is the most munificent incarnation, meaning he's giving the most freely. He has the highest thing, and he's very easily giving it to people. So he told Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, go out there and preach. Tell every single person, knock on their doors about Krishna. He said, get them to chant Krishna's names. Get them to worship Krishna. Get them to follow Krishna's instructions. And he told them, just do this and only do this. And it said that Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he used to go knocking on the doors. People open the door, oh, Hare Krishna. They weren't so happy to receive him. He would be standing in the doorway when they're trying to close the door, begging them to chant Hare Krishna. Please, please, chant Hare Krishna, please. So we may go out and we try to distribute books to spread this mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. But how eager are we to actually beg for them to take the holy name, which is for their benefit? We may think, I want to distribute this book because then, oh, I distributed a book. I get money. I get notification. People look up to me. I get this good feeling. The Lord Nityananda was just simply following the order of Lord Chaitanya and begging everybody. So one day, Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur were out wandering the streets of Navadvip. And I was just reading, actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically ordered Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur to go preach because Lord Nityananda was born from a very pious Brahmana family, very high class, saintly person. And Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family. So with the combination of them, there was nobody that they couldn't preach to. They could reach the low class people, the high class people, everybody. So as they were wandering the streets of Navadvip, they ran into two personalities. These personalities were vicious. They were atrocious, vile, drunk, angry. Jagai and Madhai. They're going around preaching and trying to get everybody to chant, and they see these two personalities, Jagai and Madhai. They're born in a very nice Brahmana family, Navadvip, Mayapur, West Bengal, India. Very, very pious place at the time. It's called the seat of learning. Everybody from India wanted to travel there to learn, to study, and to debate. Nowadays we take pictures of something of ourselves or whatever we're doing, and we put it on our Facebook or Instagram, and whoever gets the most likes, wins. They're the most popular. Such petty things, where back then cultivating knowledge and intelligence was the main focus. So different scholars would learn so much of grammar and logic and the scriptures and everything that there is to learn, and they would want to debate others to prove that they know the best. So this is good. It's cultivating knowledge. It's better than cultivating a lot of the nasty things we're cultivating now. But these two persons, Jagai and Madhai, they were not cultivating knowledge. They were only cultivating sins. It said that Yamaraj's assistants, they can look at the person, any person, and see all their karma, all their sins, all their activities that they've committed. And he said that Jagai and Madhai's list was so long that they couldn't finish reading. So they're so fallen. But Lord Nityananda Prabhu, he saw them, and what did he think? I'm going to deliver them so I can be the greatest. I'm going to deliver them so everybody will know my name. I'm going to deliver them so I get the most book points. No, he said, I'm going to deliver them because if I bring them to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then everybody will know my Lord's glories. So he is doing it strictly for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is something that we all can learn from in our preaching endeavors and practicing devotional service. Let me not act for my own name and fame, but let me act to bring pleasure to the Lord. So they approached them. And what happened? Jagai and Madhai, they became enraged, they became furious, they became chasing Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu. What are you doing in our area? This is our block. It's the same thing we see cats and dogs do. You walk by a yard where dogs kept, all of a sudden he starts barking. This is my yard, my yard. This is very low consciousness, very petty. This false ego, like we were just hearing in this bhajan. Because of the false ego, one doesn't know who Nityananda Prabhu is. He says, what is Nityananda Prabhu? So they began running and chasing after Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, who was actually an older person, were running and running. Haridas Thakur saying, what did you get me into? What did you get me into? And then Nityananda is saying, Lord Chaitanya, your Lord ordered us to go out there, pray to him, take shelter of him. And they're running and running and running. So thank God that these two persons chasing them were drunk. So eventually they stumbled, they fell down, and I said they're so intoxicated, they made it a little bit further away, and then they got to a point they forgot why they were running, why they were chasing him, and they said, how did we get here? So then they began pushing each other, fighting each other, and then, doing what drunks do, drinking a little more. So Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they went back to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because when Lord Chaitanya told them to go out to preach, he said, you go out and preach and come back every day and report to me what happened. He didn't just say go out and try your best. He said, go out and follow my order and come back and let me know what happened. So they came back and they told him what happened. And everybody was very disturbed by this. So it said that Jagai and Madhai, they moved from their spot to another spot, which was right near the Ganga. It was a bathing ghat, like a place where they set up along the river for people to go take bath. And this is where all Lord Chaitanya's associates would go. It was close to Srivas Thakur's house. So they would be there, and these people who are in Tamagun, when are they usually most active? Nighttime. So they're hanging out there, drinking, hanging out, doing their nonsense. But what were the devotees doing? They were doing kirtan all night long. So Jagai and Madhai were by the bathing ghat, and they could hear this kirtan in the distance. Hare Krishna. They could hear the mardangas, the kartals, the devotees chanting. And it said that they became purified by this. But nobody wanted to go near this bathing ghat because they were vicious. I remember one time I was in New York City, staying there before I was a devotee, and I was with one person walking around at nighttime. Long story, but we walked to a certain store, and late at night, there's like 20 or 30 like young guys hanging out. This isn't the greatest neighborhood. It's like, okay, let me walk the other way, not go that way. That's nothing but trouble. So similarly, Jagai and Madhai, nothing but trouble. Nobody wanted to go there. But Lord Nityananda, he was determined to deliver them. So one day, after wandering around Navadvip, being in transcendental ecstasy, chanting the holy names and trying to get everybody else to chant Hare Krishna, he went to that bathing ghat. Dun, dun, dun. They already met before, so they knew each other. So they saw Nityananda Prabhu come up and they said, what are you doing here? Why do you try to disturb us? We're trying to have fun. We're trying to enjoy. And Nityananda Prabhu pleaded with them to take heed of Lord Chaitanya's instruction to chant Hare Krishna. But then what happened? A pot came flying through the air. Madhai actually threw the pot that he was drinking from. He chucked it. He hit Nityananda Prabhu right in the head. Nityananda Prabhu was bleeding like anything. So much blood. And then it was at that time, Jagai actually grabbed Madhai's arm because he was getting ready to pick up another stone or something and throw it at him. And at the same time, Lord Chaitanya, being omniscient, all-knowing, Supreme Lord, he could understand this, what was going on. And what did he do? He summoned his chakra. For those who don't know, the chakra is his discus weapon, which he uses to kill. So he was getting ready to go. Oh. Jai, Haribol. So yeah, he was getting ready to kill these two brothers, especially Madhai, who was throwing the pot. But Lord Nityananda pleaded with him to stop. And he said, no, 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 no. Actually, Jagai saved me from Madhai. Therefore, he's in due receipt of your blessings, of your mercy. So because Jagai did that, Lord Chaitanya became pacified. He bestowed his mercy on Jagai. Jagai became purified. and he actually absorbed all of his sins. He became completely pure. But Madhai was there alone by himself because, you know, he actually did the heinous act of throwing this pot at Lord Nityananda. I'm curious what's going on up here. It's a nice picture. So it said that Madhai and Jagai were so close, though. They were like two peas in a pod. They were like one. So as Jagai became purified, then Madhai naturally had a purification taking place in his heart, and he begged for mercy also. And, you know, long story short, Lord Chaitanya bestowed his mercy on them on behalf of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who was ever forgiving and just ever so wanting to give the blessings, the mercy to these most fallen persons. And Lord Chaitanya, when he absolved them of their sins and purified them, he told them, okay, you chant Hare Krishna. I believe he told them to chant 200,000 names a day. I don't know if he told them that or they started doing that. Anyways, he told them, don't sin anymore. So before Krishna consciousness, before hearing of Krishna, before hearing the Bhagavad Gita, we may commit so many sins due to our lusty ways of wanting to enjoy. Sometimes very gross, where we do really bad things and we know it's bad and it affects other people, or sometimes very subtle, where, you know, we're very egotistical and we want name and fame. We think we're great, we're greedy, you know, all these other things that affect the heart in subtle ways. So when we come in contact with Krishna, then to get closer to Krishna, we need to accept the shelter of Guru. And this is Lord Nityananda, Lord Balaram. He's coming. He's being so merciful to those fallen souls, but we have to submit ourselves to him and beg for his mercy that we can give up the things that are keeping us from surrendering to Krishna. All the problems that we face in life, all the suffering, all the miseries, it's all because we're just not dependent upon Krishna. We think I have to work so hard to get these grades so I could get this degree, so I could get this job, so I could get money, so I could be in a position so that I can enjoy and take care of my family. Who takes care of our family? Krishna. I can work very hard. I can build a house. I can put all the nice drinks and foods and arrangements there. But an earthquake could come, a hurricane could come, an intruder could come with a gun. You know, anything could happen overnight. We're not in control. So this is the illusion of the material world, is thinking that we're going to work hard to control everything around us, so my health will be good, so my family's safety will be good, so my bank account balance will be good. But it's all Krishna's mercy. So we should strive for the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. And the best way by doing that is by taking up the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's almost time. There's many other pastimes that take place with Lord Nityananda, some that are very eccentric, and it's very important to understand his position as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so we don't make offenses and confuse, oh, this is God and he's acting this way? That's crazy. No, he's coming and acting out a Leela. He's performing certain pastimes to achieve what he wants, to carry out a certain mood, to associate with his close devotees, and ultimately bring back the fallen souls. But this pastime with Jagai and Madhai very, very much captures the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. So maybe somebody else has a question or comment, or yeah, Radha Damodar is first.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your wonderful class. It was very nice. I just had a question. In the bhajan, we were reading and singing, he says, Nitanam Bonamukhe. Doesn't chant, the one who doesn't chant the names of Nitai, they sink into, yeah, say Pashu, they're like an animal, you know. But so I was just wondering, so it sounds like it's like it's bona fide to chant. As Rishi was chanting, Nitai, Nitai, Nitai. But I'm just wondering what's the purport on this. And other like Manshan Das Thakur, I was reading too in his bhajans, he also kind of authorizes or he orders that we should chant. Krishnananda Saraswati Goswami Maharaj also. So
I think Rishi's hand's almost touching the roof. So
We just spoke about this like 2 weeks ago in the Bhagavad Gita class.
I need to hear again also.
Yeah, the same thing was asked, and I just got to going through Prabhupada's recordings from the beginning of them to the end of them. I just got to it this morning, but it was the same thing that we said in the class. Someone asked Prabhupada the same question. It says in this song, in this bhajan, and here and there, chant the name of Gauranga or chant the name of Nityananda. So, like, should we do that? And so then Prabhupada says, yes, that's important. And here's how you should do it. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. So he says you chant that and then you chant Radha Krishna or Hare Krishna, the Maha Mantra. So we do chant. It is important to chant their names and get their mercy. And then the Acharya is giving how to do that with that mantra, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda, and then Hare Krishna mantra. Not Nitai, 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 or Gauranga, Nityananda, or any of these, you know, whatever other ones there might be.
Hare Krishna. So chanting Nitai Nam is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, meditating on the syllables Rama as Nitai and Hare as Gadadhar and Krishna as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If we try to chant purely and think of Krishna immediately, Radharani as Hare, Krishna as Krishna, the blue cowherd boy, Balaram as Rama, we're not qualified to do this. Lord Nityananda and Lord Gauranga, they are in a certain mood. Odaya, what is it? Odaya? What is it? Odarya. They're in the Odarya mood, so they're very forgiving and they're very merciful if we chant their names in this mood. So it's said when we're beginning, that's how you actually obtain real attachment and advancement in your chanting. You have to first get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, and this is what Oshan Das Thakur is referring to. And thank you.
Jai, something else? Yes, Jai Kishva.
Hare Krishna. I was just curious that about you mentioned that worshiping Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya together, but I noticed that sometimes devotees they like to worship Dameshvar, which is Lord Chaitanya with his hands extended like this, and he's by himself. Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's not necessarily that, you have to worship Sri Sri Gauranatai together, but the point is that you can't take Lord Chaitanya and disregard Lord Nityananda's position because it's Krishna Balaram manifest. So it's like, as Mogadari was pointing out in the class earlier. So Balaram or Nityananda is Adi Guru. So there's, the worshipped Bhagavat and then the worshipper Bhagavat. So, here's God, and then the God who's worshiping God. So this is Krishna and Balaram, this is Gaura and Nitai. So, in that way, they're inseparable. So for somebody aspiring for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, then that mercy is required. And, also, like Prabhu was saying, like for the mercy, the mercy of Radha Krishna, which we're unqualified for, then the mercy of Gaura Nitai is required. So in this fallen age, we're very much dependent upon that. And say somebody's really attracted, say the Brooklyn Temple, for instance, they have Radha Govinda deities. They don't have like big Gaura Nitai deities there. They have a small deity of Lord Chaitanya on the side. So it's a little bit of a different mood there. But the point is that mercy of Lord Chaitanya is still required for one to adhere to the devotion of Krishna, Radha Krishna. Because whatever we're doing in this age that we know of Krishna at all is all coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, I was thinking about it the other day. Just, we could see all these acharyas coming from Lord Chaitanya. And, this is 500 years ago. Everything that we know of Krishna is coming from him. Otherwise, everybody would be saying other philosophies. They'd interpret the Bhagavad Gita this way. The people in the West would have no idea. They wouldn't chant Hare Krishna. Depending on which part of India you go, they would have a completely different understanding of what Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita and which demigod to worship. But then, you could see if you go to like Bangladesh and West Bengal and India, like there's a lot more knowledge of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there's a different mood. Whereas like in other parts of India, it's it's very different. So we're very fortunate to have that connection coming from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then as one becomes purified, their natural affection for the Lord might develop. But that mercy is required. So that's a few thoughts. So any other final comments or thoughts or reflections?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for nice satsang. Really enjoyed. Prabhuji, can you tell me how did the union of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, how did they came into union or contact with each other?
Well, Lord Chaitanya, he appeared in a town of Navadvip, West Bengal, India. Lord Nityananda, he appeared in Ekachakra. Ekachakra is in the same area, but a little bit further away. It might be in modern day Bangladesh, I'm not sure. But it's in that same area. But Lord Nityananda was older. He was living at home, and there was a traveling sannyasi, and the sannyasi stopped by this house, and he requested that this family, very pious Brahmana family, give their son to him, so he could have an assistant on his travels, and he could train him in spiritual life. So Lord Nityananda was traveling with him, going to the holy places, and eventually, he got older, and they split up. Lord Nityananda wandered around, and he heard about Lord Chaitanya. He came to Navadvip because he wanted to see Lord Chaitanya. And just as they first met, it was like, long lost brothers immediately. Like they have this certain relationship of loving ecstasy. And, you could read in the Chaitanya Bhagavat and the Chaitanya Charitamrita, they have very wonderful pastimes where we hear about Krishna Balaram. And if you read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's not so much information about Balaram. Maybe, it mentions his name here or there, and there's a few different things that talk about him. But, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, it really opens up just the way they connect to each other, the way their rasa, the way they share affection and chant the holy names, especially the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, they Lord Nityananda came to Navadvip and he never left, and he stayed there. He was kind of an outsider. There was a tight-knit Brahmana community. So Advaita Acharya was like the old senior Vaishnava, very Brahminical, and all the other devotees. Lord Chaitanya, he was born into a Brahmana family. He was a very learned scholar in grammar. They call him Nimai Pandit. So Lord Nityananda was an avadut, which means, like I mentioned, he's like unconventional. He is what we would say, crazy, because we see his external activities and we don't understand what he's doing. We think, oh, he's weird, he's mad, he's out there. But really, he is so transcendentally absorbed in a spiritual platform and exhibiting so much bliss and nectar that we can't really gauge the way that he's acting properly. So then we hear from pure devotees who are describing the way he's acting and his mood, and then it allows us to understand him more. And as we understand him more, then it opens up more bliss and more realization and more connection, which we want to naturally take shelter of him and pray to him more. But then after Lord Nityananda came to Navadvip, he stayed there, and then he engaged in kirtan with Lord Chaitanya and the devotees, and that went on for years. Lord Chaitanya, he eventually took sannyas at the age of 24. Lord Chaitanya, he renounced his family, he gave up his young wife, his mother, and he promised his mother that he'd go live in Jagannath Puri. So Lord Chaitanya ordered Nityananda Prabhu to stay in Navadvip and preach. Otherwise, he wanted to go with Lord Chaitanya also. So for that reason, Lord Nityananda, he stayed in Navadvip. He got married to Janava Devi, who later was a very, very prominent senior Vaishnavi. She actually became an initiating guru, which is pretty rare for Vaishnavism. And Lord Nityananda and all the devotees from Navadvip, they would go to Jagannath Puri once a year to see Lord Chaitanya, specifically at the time for the Ratha Yatra. So in this way, they were serving Lord Chaitanya by carrying out his instructions, which was made very clear that was the higher way to do it. That some of them wanted to be very much close to him and be with him, but he instructed them to do otherwise, stay here and preach, stay here and do this. And Lord Chaitanya was very pleased if the devotee followed his instruction. So there's much to learn from this. I could unpack all these other meanings of how we could apply this to our life, but I'm just giving a little bit of overview. So Lord Nityananda was traveling. He came to Navadvip. It's all part of a Leela, because it's actually Krishna and Balaram. So they get together and it's like lightning going off, and they're chanting the holy names. And they would be doing kirtan at Srivas Thakur's house all through the night, all night long. And just like when Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, it's said that, they're so absorbed in the ecstasy of the moment that time just slipped away. So, that night felt like a whole day of Brahma, which is, millions and millions and millions of years. So similarly, like I was trying to explain earlier in a poor way, that kirtans at Srivas Thakur's house would happen the same way. They're doing the kirtan, but they're so absorbed, like the time of Brahma, a day of Brahma would pass by, and it seemed like just a normal night. So now we're chanting Hare Krishna on our beads, and we're just like, oh man, I got 3 more rounds to go. It's 20 more minutes. Let's get through this. Let's get done. They're so absorbed that they didn't even consider time. They're just beyond it. So, that's how he came in contact, at least in this Leela. I could ramble on so many more points. I mean, there's so much to mention about Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya and their pastimes. There's different key pastimes you could highlight. I just wanted to talk about mostly the pastime with Jagai and Madhai to really showcase the mercy.
Lord Nityananda and connection from previous life, possibly, right?
Yes.
Because they were so much in love as soon as they met.
Well, this is Krishna and Balaram.
Yeah, right, exactly. They did the Rath Yatra, Which deities did they use in the Rath Yatra?
Which deities?
Uh-huh.
Lord Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. Yeah, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's vivid descriptions of Lord Chaitanya. He was going with his associates from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri, and when they were getting close, they could see the temple. And when they saw the temple, it's very tall. Lord Chaitanya went running. He went running, and then all the others fell behind. And Lord Chaitanya got to the temple. He went in. He took darshan of Lord Jagannath, and he just fainted in ecstasy and fell to the ground. So then the security guards were getting ready to throw him out. They thought he was a crazy person. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, another devotee, took him to his house. It's a long story, but then all the devotees caught up also. But my point is there's many examples of how the Lord is interacting at the Jagannath Puri temple and singing and chanting and dancing before the Jagannath deity. The same deity that they take on Ratha Yatra every year that you could go see in the temple, that I can't go because my skin color, they won't let me in the temple.
So, is there any reason why we use always Lord Jagannath and not Radha Krishna in Rath Yatra?
Yeah, this is explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the chapter where Lord Chaitanya is at the Ratha Yatra dancing in front of Lord Jagannath. The esoteric meaning is explained of the Ratha Yatra, why the Ratha Yatra is actually happening. So it's said that the gopis are trying to pull Krishna back to Vrindavan. So Lord Jagannath is Krishna, Baladev, that is Balaram, Subhadra, that's their sister Subhadra. So this is non-different than Krishna, but it's a different mood, it's a different bhav than Radha Krishna. So Krishna's more in an opulent feature where he left Vrindavan, he's in Dwarka Dham or Mathura Dham, and the gopis are trying to pull Krishna back to Vrindavan, and this is the whole point of the Ratha Yatra. It's a quite esoteric thing, and if you want to understand it in full detail, you can read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's in Madhya Lila, chapter 12 or something. It's very nice. We read it here in the temple on Saturday, a few weeks ago. The past few Saturdays, we've been reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, so it's very nice. Anyways, I don't want to keep everybody here forever. Thank you so much for tolerating me. Forgive me for any offenses. Shri Gauranatai ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Nityananda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhibhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. So if anybody wants, we have lots of prasadam. There was a big feast earlier today in the occasion of Nityananda Trayodashi. So please take, and please take some more, and take some more after that for the next day.